Toronto real estate market is still not looking good, especially condo market. It is dead right now. Active listings, they are up by 75% in Greater Toronto area. And if this trend continues, we will see further price drop in real estate prices. By working on the ground level, what we're noticing is that a lot of buyers, they're putting their search on hold. That's primarily due to instability and uncertainty in the market, which is primarily triggered by tariff chaos down on south of the border. So what does it mean if you're a buyer in this market? With a lot of options available, especially for condos, this is a solid time for you to negotiate hard. Securing a property at the right price or at a discount price is key. Because in my opinion, in real estate, you make money at the time of buying, especially if you're buying at the right price as opposed to at the time of selling it. And second is you should be buying with a long-term mindset. That is a timeline of 4 to 6 years. If your time horizon is shorter than that, in my opinion, it's better not to get into the market, especially in today's market. It's better to rent instead. And what does it mean if you're a seller in this market? If your situation allows, I would suggest not to sell your property for a year or two. Hang in there because situation will change, times will change. It's just a matter of time. So in today's video, I'm going to deep dive into Toronto real estate numbers, and I'm going to share what exactly is happening in the market. And if you get any value out of this content, then please smash the like button. And I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs as soon as possible. Therefore, please do subscribe to the channel. And if you got any questions about real estate, you can book a call with me by clicking on the first link mentioned in the description below. So here's the data of active listings in whole of Greater Toronto area. And here we do a comparison that is a year-over-year comparison that is from February 2024 to February 2025. The active listings have gone up by 75%. And if you do comparison from the summer to fall of 2024, here you can see the active listings where the active listings peaked, especially in the month of September of 2024. And if we do comparisons from that time to February of 2025, they have come down by about 99%. So that's something we need to consider. But one more thing which you need to point out is the number of sales have been coming down in the month of January, February of 2025. So if you do comparison from the February, March, April, May of 2024 to January, February of this year, the sales have come down. So the number of active listings keep on rising and the number of sales remain where they are, or if they come down, then we will see further downward pressure onto the prices. So now I'm going to move ahead and I'm going to focus towards Toronto area, that is Toronto 416 area. Toronto 416 area is right over here, and if you see the data in this 416 area, so you can see this data is from 2012 to 2025. So in the last 13 years, the number of active listings have been the highest. So this is kind of concerning. If this number keeps on increasing, there will be more listing onto the market, so that will put more downward pressure onto the prices. And if we go down, and I'm going to niche down towards downtown Toronto, that is downtown core, that is CO1 area, which is south of Bloor Street to east of Dufferin to west of Yonge Street. So in this pocket, you basically find cluster of condos. So I'm going to show you data of condos in specific. So here's the data of active listings just for condos in CO1 area for the month of February. And here also we have the same story. The number of active listings have been the highest since 2012 up till now. So that's something to consider. So now I'm going to quickly talk about pre-construction side of things, basically pre-construction condos. So let's talk about that. So here's a report by Urbanation showing the number of sales every year since 1986 to 2024. And here you can see in 2024, we had just shy of 5,000 units being sold in whole of GTA area. That's a very low number. And if we compare it with 1996, that's where we had such low number of units being sold in whole of Greater Toronto area. And whereas the last year 10-year average has been about 20,000 units being sold each year. So you can see the pre-construction condo market is kind of dead and it's not looking good. And because of that, as pre-construction projects are not selling, the builders are not building, and that is why there's a construction slowdown. And because of construction slowdown, down the line, chances are high there's going to be a problem of supply, and I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. But before that, I want to show you one more data. This is more up to date data on pre-construction side of things. So in the year of January of 2025, only less than 200 condos were sold in the last month, basically. So that's a very low number, and why pre-construction condos are not selling is one of the reasons is weaker economy that's there. And on top of that is investors are holding back from entering the market because numbers are not making sense for them. And third, I would say, is there's a price gap between resale and pre-construction projects. So I've been very vocal about it that pre-construction condo, I'm not the biggest fan of those because they're expensive. Because pre-construction condos hovers the average price point hovers about $1,100 to $1,400 per square foot, whereas you can find a similar product on resale side of things for about $800 per square foot to $1,000 per square foot. That's why consumers are more leaning towards resale side of things as compared to pre-construction condos. So far, I understand that I've only shared doom and gloom information, but down the line, things are going to change. Chances are high, especially for someone who's a condo owner and watching this video. Don't freak out. Things are going to become better, and I'm going to explain you how and why. So here's the data of condo completion in JDA area, and this is the condo completion. You can see in the year of 2025, there's going to be more supply coming. This basically highest level of supply, which we're going to experience in this area. And as well as in 2026, the story is going to remain more or less same. But by the year of 2027, 2028, things are going to change because there's going to be less level of supply coming in. And I don't have the data right now, but chances are 2029 or 2030 that there's going to be even further less level of supply because builders are not building right now. That's why. And this is the time when the condo market, chances are high, the condo market is going to make a comeback. And if you're a condo owner who's kind of on the fence of selling it, I would suggest if you can wait for a year or two, you will be in a much better position as of selling it today. And if you're someone who's looking to get into the market as a buyer, I would buy with the timeline of at least 4 to 6 years, because if you buy right now and want to sell in a year or two, then you might end up with a loss. But down the line, that is by 2027 or beyond, you will do pretty well. And I think by then, by the year of 2028, condo market is going to make a comeback. So now I'm going to show you data that how many properties were sold in the month of February of 2025 and at what price point. So let's get right into it. So in the month of February, you can see there were 1,600 properties that were sold. And if you see this pie chart, 50% of the whole properties were sold were condos. That is 49%, almost 50%. And the second highest sales of property type was detached properties. That is 454 detached properties were sold, and the third highest were semi-detached, that is 170 properties, semi-detached properties were sold. And then after that is condo townhouses, that is 93 condo townhouses were sold. And then the last one is townhouses, only 50 townhouses were sold in the month of February of 2025. So we don't have many townhouses in the city. So now let's see at what price point the properties were sold. So majority of the action has happened between the price point of $500,000 to $600,000. That is 233 properties were sold within this price point, basically condos we're looking at in this price range. And the second highest activity happened between the price point of million to 1.25 million. That is 217 properties were sold in Toronto. So now I'm going to niche down and I'm going to focus towards downtown Toronto. That is basically, I'm going to go towards CO1 and CO8 area because this is where we find cluster of condos. So let's talk about that. So here you can see in the month of February, there were 311 condos which were sold, and majority of them were sold between the price point of 600 to 699, that is 74. And the second highest category where we had the highest activity is between the price point of $500,000 to $600,000. That is 70 condos were sold. And if I break this data into more detail, so let's check out how many one bedrooms were sold in the year of February in downtown Toronto. That is, we're looking at is 77 one bedrooms were sold in the month of February, and most of them were sold between the price point of $500,000 to $600,000 for a one bedroom. Now let's check out how many two bedrooms were sold. So two bedrooms were 174 units, two bedroom units were sold in the month of February, and the majority of the sales were between the price point of $600,000 to $700,000. So if you're looking for a two bedroom in Toronto, that's the price we're looking at. And let's see how many three bedrooms were sold in the city or in downtown Toronto. There were just 47 condos which were sold in downtown Toronto for three bedrooms, and the majority of them were sold between the price point of $900,000 to $1 million. And I missed out on one category, that is studios. So let's check those out. So only 8 units were sold in the month of February of 2025. Eight studios were sold in this month. And if you notice one pattern, that smaller units were sold at a lesser volume as opposed to second bedroom. So typically two bedrooms are consumed by end users, and smaller units such as studios or one bedrooms are typically consumed by investors. So this goes to show investors are missing from the market. So that's why we're seeing lesser number of smaller units being consumed as opposed to 2-bedroom units. Okay. So now I'm going to quickly show you the trend line of average prices in downtown Toronto, and I'm going to do an analysis of year over year and month over month. So here's the trend line of benchmark prices in downtown Toronto, that is CO1 area. So it's basically core of downtown. So if you see the average prices year over year, they have come down about by, let's say, 2.5 to 3%. And if you do a month over month comparison, they have slightly gone up by 6%, but more or less, I'll be honest with you, the market has more or less remained flat for the last 4 to 5 years for condos. And if I do analysis of all property types in Greater Toronto area, and here you can see the trend line, the prices have more or less remained flat since the Bank of Canada has started decreasing the interest rates. That is the spring of 2022, and after that we can see a market has gone through its ups and downs, but more or less remained flat. So if you do a year-over-year comparison, the market has the property prices have come down about by 2.5%. And if you do a month-over-month comparison, that is from January 2025 to February 2025, it has gone up by 4% give and takes. So yeah, that's pretty much. And going forward, I think so the market is more or less going to remain flat again. I don't think so there's going to be, chances are very, very slim that there's going to be any upward pressure on or any price growth. But we'll see how things pan out. And I think the second half of this year is going to be more busier in terms of sales volume as opposed to the first half of this year. But it's very much contingent upon how tariffs fiasco plays out, how our elections turns out to be. These factors are very crucial. So we'll see how things pan out. So I hope I was able to give you some value, and if I did, then please subscribe to the channel and please smash that like button. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.